Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to the AskGolfNut channel and welcome to answering golf's daft questions. Now these are some daft and some not daft, and they're from the wonderful world of online, be it Facebook forums or things like that. And some of them are daft and some of them are not so daft, but there is undertones of information which either should be known already or at least information that's been given to people from a sales driven spiel, which I'd like to kind of debunk. So we'll go straight into it. Now, if you guys like this kind of content, it's something new that I've decided to do, but if you want it, again, get down there, hit the like button, and that gives me an idea if you want more of this kind of content. So let's get straight into it. Quick question: was testing 245s tonight, so Mizuno Pro 245s, had a descent angle of 48 to 50 degrees. Descent angle's the angle at which it comes into the green. Yeah, 5K spin, I'm guessing, revs, yeah, backspin, and was carrying 170 yards, I'm guessing, plus. The young man at the PGA Superstore felt like my descent angle needed to be brought down to 45 degrees. Is 50 degrees a bad descent angle? Well, no, it's not. And what I don't like about this, and this is not saying anything to do with the fact that he's said the words young man, not having anything to do with whether he's young or if he's a man, doesn't matter. But this is indicative of a distance related fitting opportunity. So if you've got someone who's using 245s, which are 30 degree lofted 7-irons, so they are players distance, fairly strong lofted 7-irons already. Now you do get 27 degree lofted 7-irons, which are a completely different beast, but they're already fairly strong. And he's putting in 48 to 50 degree descent angles, 5,000 plus spin, good numbers, 170 yards plus, good numbers. But if you could go into an iron which would spin it less than the 245s, again, I'm not going to go into specific irons because this here has a negative connotation. I don't want any name of any kind of model to be given a negative connotation on the basis of what I'm saying. But there are different golf clubs that spin the golf ball slightly differently, some more, some less. And that suits different people if they need more or less spin. So there's nothing bad about it, it's just what different golf clubs do. But if you were to go give this gentleman here, or lady, not quite certain, because I've blurred obviously everything out to make sure it's nice and anonymous. But if you were to get them a golf club which spins less, or is stronger lofted, they are going to be hitting absolute boom balls out there. I mean, 170 yards plus is going to easily turn into 180 yards plus, which I think you'd agree potentially if you're looking at 7-iron at 180, maybe even 190 yards of carry. That's a concern because obviously you've got maybe a 45 degree descent angle, but then if you then go 6-iron, you then go 5-iron, you are going to go into a green at whatever distance and have no control, because again we are talking about baselines. Your 5 degrees coming off all the time at 170 yards plus at 50 degrees. You can definitely go 6-iron, you can definitely go 5-iron. I may or may not think about going 4-iron because the descent angle may get a little bit hard to control and possibly go into hybrid. But especially if you start taking descent angle off by 5 degrees, that conversation happens just too much earlier and everything starts going in like a rainbow flight, and it's a little bit dodgier control. Also, if you're talking about 7-irons that are going to be either less spinny or slightly stronger lofted, how many wedges you're going to need, what the loft gaps between each of the irons, and so what the distance gaps between each irons. And this is the thing, you need to have control in your set. So this is it's not a bad question, it's the fact that the information has been given has been bad in itself, and it is for distance related selling which drives me mental. I've got another one here. So is it better to get fitted for a driver indoors with a launch monitor, etc., or outdoors where you can see the flight of the ball? Personally, if you're going to go outside, then you are going to be subject to atmospherics, and so generally outside you would potentially be fit with a radar-based system to track the flight. Again, that's the whole advantage of a radar-based system, is the fact that it physically tracks the flight of the golf ball. If you're outside, you've got atmospherics, and this is the only consideration I would have, especially with driver, because obviously driver is there to do one specific thing. It's to go as long and as far and as straight as possible. If you look at every single other golf club, well, kind of not putter, you know what I mean, have a specific job to do. So how far does your 7-iron go? It goes this far. How far does your pitching wedge go? It goes this far. When it comes to a driver, the only job of a driver is to go as far as you possibly can get it whilst keeping it under control. And because we don't always hit it straight, you are looking at having curvature. And this is the thing when you're outside and you have to deal with atmospherics. What I mean atmospherics, I mean wind, etc., that will absolutely play a part on what that golf ball does that day. And when you've got the inconsistencies of a human being anyway, starting to do different things on different days, that means why if you go for a same fitting on 3 or 4 or 5 different days, you might get slightly different results when it comes to your distance, etc. But that's just normal. That's what being human is. You add then the question mark of atmospherics, it then does blur the data very, very much. So yes, you can normalize certain things like TrackMan to get rid of certain things, but then you kind of muddy the waters a little bit when it comes to the validity of the data. And so I would say, especially with the driver, if you're going to get fit, I would much rather see the driver being fit indoors when you can control everything. Just take the atmospherics out of the equation, just deal with the inconsistencies of the golfer. You haven't got to then worry about things changing constantly. You can use the same golf ball all the time, so you don't have to rely on the different types of golf balls that you're using within the bucket that you've got being different in themselves, because again, a lot of these things are done on ranges. And of course, a golf ball, a range ball can be hit once or 1,000 times, and they will have differences always between them. So you're going to get different results just from the different golf balls. You can use a brand new golf ball indoors. You only use the same golf ball for a certain amount of times. Again, that's the whole idea of it. And of course with quad. Quad is built on a Pro V1 aerodynamic profile. Now, you may not be playing with Pro V1s, but at least you're keeping the same data consistent throughout the whole thing. And so I would say, as a general rule, try and get fit indoors with the driver. Outdoors is slightly different. I mean, again, there is, especially when you talk about turf interaction, is that there is a certain amount of thing that people want to get fit on grass. Again, that's absolutely fine. There's good and bad bits for every single thing when it comes to that. But I would say for driver, definitely go on a launch monitor indoors, and I would say camera based would be better than radar based. What advice would you give a guy that shoots 1 under 1 round and plays the same course the next day and shoots 14 over? I'm so inconsistent, it's insane, and I think I would agree. But again, I see this a lot, and when I used to be coaching and custom fitting full time, I used to see this a lot. The number one thing I used to hear when people used to come through the door for the first time was, I just want to be more consistent. So there is lots and lots of ways you can be more consistent. Again, there's a lot of movement within the golf swing a lot of the time, and so trying to remove unnecessary movement, unnecessary pivoting, etc., and just keep it bare bones is a great way of getting your consistency up a bit. But this one is an absolute, you've got to shoot 1 under, so it's potential for obviously very low handicap, then to go 14 over. Again, there's always natural variance within handicap anyway. That's a big 15 shots is a big natural variance. Now, I would say absolutely go get a lesson, because this kind of thing can only be fixed via lesson, unless you're playing on a golf course which is hurricane winds one day and then deathly calm the next. Under normal circumstances, 15 shots is a little bit too much for variation. So I would say absolutely go get a lesson. Let's go find out exactly why. Don't go on YouTube or don't go on Facebook and ask the question, because you're not going to get any useful answers, and the only useful answer should be go get a lesson and find out. Right, this is from a comment from a YouTube video, and it is simple. I've blurred some bits and pieces out because it does give information there which necessarily doesn't kind of, need to be put in. But excellent review. What is the minimum swing speed for this driver? For this driver. Without knowing your delivery dynamics, without knowing how you spin the golf ball, how you launch the golf ball, there is no such thing as what is the minimum or maximum speed for this driver. Literally just done a Ping overview review to find out of all the models of drivers that Ping make, who are they centered towards. But there's this massive thing with swing speed. Swing speed, everyone swings differently, everyone swings at different speeds, yet the same head can work for a myriad of different golfers depending on what their delivery dynamics and what they need from that head is. I've got one here. I am a 14 handicap. I recently got the QI10 driver, but kept hearing how lots of people are going with QI10 Max, or that others who hit drivers better than myself or have single digit handicaps are switching. I went back and hit the Max, but I like the feel of the QI10 better. I'm striking the ball just fine in both. Max has less slice on mishits, as I assumed it would. Well, that's worrying if you're saying that it has less slice on mishits. Okay, I know it's hit what you like. No, it's not, but just want to make sure the best purchase for my investment. Thoughts when you have the new drivers. Wow, okay, so the fact that it has less slice, well, yes, you're going to get less gear effect from a max driver being the most forgiving of the lot. No one on a forum can tell you what you should or should not do without knowing intimately what your delivery dynamics and what your requirements are from a golf club. If you like spray it all over the face, yes, a max golf club will be better because it is much more stable. However, there's a big issue with the fact that you spraying it all over the face. And again, I would say go for a lesson first of all to find out why you spray it all over the face. And the fact that the reason why you should opt for a QI10 or a QI10 Max is based on what you should need, not what you like to hit. Now, yes, that is a point of when you're doing your buying. You have to then put into account, do I like the look of it? Do I like the feel of it, etc.? But primarily you go by performance requirements first, and then whether it be launch conditions, spin conditions, forgiveness conditions, anything else like that, and then you marry the other lot in at the end. But again, this is an interesting one from a point of view, a question which has been posed out for everybody to answer when you get plenty of interesting comments when it comes to the answers. Really what I need to do as well, I need to put some, an addition to a video like this of when I'm talking about this, of what daft answers other people have said. But you do get a myriad of different replies and responses that give just ridiculously wacko responses. You need to try this. This would suit you down to the ground without not knowing anything to do with their delivery whatsoever. So on that one, I would say absolutely go test them properly, not the fact that it has less slice on miss hits. I strike the ball just fine on both, but then the Max has less slice on miss hits. Well, you don't then strike them both well, because you're then referencing how the fact that the Max has less slice on miss hits. So yeah, interesting one. Great review. So this is one from one of my comments to a video. Great review. Do you think this would translate with someone around clubhead speed of between 135 to 140 miles per hour? Well, first of all, well done for being able to swing a driver at 135, 140 miles an hour. I regularly swing at 110 miles an hour. That is my cruising speed, and I have swung at 121, I think is my topped out my fastest speed. 135 and 140 mile an hour is mental, and congratulations on being athletic enough to be able to do that. Second thing, how would I know? This is again goes back to a similar question we had a couple of times before. Now, a driver is designed to work at any speed, as in the case of you've got long drivers out there that are swinging at ridiculous speeds, creating ball speeds of 230 miles an hour plus, etc., and they're staying intact. So the drivers are designed to work at different speeds, yes. But absolutely, what people need to understand is if this driver, let's say for me at 110 miles an hour, and whatever driver this was, again, I'll blur everything out to try and keep a little bit of anonymity. But whatever driver this it works for me at 110 miles an hour, set up how I set it. Now, I then just not worry about this gentleman here in his swing, which we've got no understanding about. But if you put in my swing and add 25 to 30 miles an hour head speed, then potentially things are going to have to change. As in, my launch conditions aren't going to really change. I'm not bend profile specific, so I'm not talking about how much the shaft is bending and stuff like that. I'm not really sensitive to that. So we are talking about launch conditions stay the same, but ball speed massively goes up, like hugely goes up. And also speed related spin goes up. So if you've got those two going up, you've got the launch staying the same, but that means that ball is now going on that launch angle for longer before gravity has an effect because the ball speed is up. You've got an increase in spin because of speed, which means the ball's going to climb more, and so you're going to have a higher peak height and a massively steeper descent angle, and that's not what you want on a driver. On a driver, you want something that's going to be a little bit more wanting to run out rather than pitch on a green and stop like you would do your 7-iron, etc. irons with control. Driver has got to hit the ground and chase forward and stuff like that. So there has to be a certain understanding of launch conditions, spin conditions with the ball speed, peak height, descent angle, carry and rollout. All of those are important. If you just give me 25 and 30 miles an hour increase, absolutely, I'm going to have to change. Yeah, I'm going to have to either do one of two things. I'm going to either have to run the loft down so I can get the launch angle lower, and so then obviously with increased ball speed, it's still peak height the same, but I'm still going to potentially have spin related issues. I'm going to lose a bit of spin by reducing the loft on it, but that depends if I've got enough capacity within the head to actually do that. If I'm running a 9-degree head and I'm already down to the lowest amount, 140 miles an hour is a really fast swing speed, I'm going to have to then think about going another way of going a different center of gravity head, going to a low spin head. But with a low spin head comes the forgiveness potential problems that you're going to get, because just physics states that a low spin head will be less forgiving as a general rule, depending on many other things, and again, construction of the head and design of it, etc. I won't go into too much detail. I would need an absolute, just so much of a detailed, more information about his club head dynamics, his impact dynamics, his requirement for forgiveness, his launch conditions, what he currently has. It would just be so much, it would be a case of like, just go get fit. Like properly go get fit with someone who knows what they're doing on something like a quad, which you can properly measure impact and see what's going on and work with that, because wow, how would anyone know that or not? So there you go, guys. That's a episode 1, you could say, of doing this. If everyone likes this and someone got information and got some use out of this, by all means, then you want to see another one, get down in the comment section, show us a love for that one. Also hit the old like button as well. Obviously that will give me an understanding if you want to see this kind of stuff or not. So make sure while you're down there, there's a little button, it's a subscribe button. It's great for the channel if you could subscribe, so thank you very much for that. And also there's a bell icon there, that's a notification bell. Make sure you get that bell icon on for all notifications, because obviously I'll be releasing more and more content going forward. So hope you're well, and we'll see you again soon.